My manager announced, "We installed a secret tracker on one of your computers to watch you work. If nobody comes clean, every single one of you is fired today." 19 of us sat in that conference room and nobody moved. Priya's mouth was open. Marcus kept staring at his laptop like it might bite him. Nobody would look at anybody else. An audit had found $18,000 missing from the vendor account. Payments routed to a shell company for 6 months. That was what Vaughn told us. Standing at the front with his hands folded, a man who'd been regional director for exactly 11 days. Trent stood up from the back. "Trent was the guy who took credit for your work and told you it was collaboration. What if we vote on it?" he said. "As a team, name the person." Vaughn tilted his head like he was actually considering it. "Fine, you get 10 minutes. But if you're wrong, everyone still goes." The room detonated. Chairs scraped. People clustered into corners. I went to Priya first because she sat next to me. She grabbed my wrist immediately. "It's Trent," she hissed. "It's obviously Trent. The guy leased a boat last spring on our salary. Do the math." Fair point, but I wanted to hear more. Marcus was still glaring at his screen. "It's a bluff," he said flatly. "You can't push monitoring software onto a locked machine without an IT ticket, and I'd have seen the ticket. He's fishing." Marcus knew our systems better than anyone, but Vaughn didn't look like a man bluffing. He looked like a man watching an experiment run. That's when I noticed Ruben. He was alone at the far end of the table with his head down and his shoulders shaking. Ruben was the quiet one. 14 years in accounts payable. First in every morning. Never took a sick day. Never said a word louder than he had to. Nobody was talking to him. Nobody ever did. I sat down in the chair beside him. "Hey, you okay?" He lifted his head and his eyes were red and wet. "It was me," he whispered. I felt the floor drop. "I'm the one he's looking for. Please." He caught my sleeve. "Don't say my name. My wife's treatments. Insurance stopped covering them in March. I was going to put it back. I have the records." "5 minutes," Vaughn called out. Behind me, the room was getting loud. Most had settled on Trent, who was on his feet shouting that he'd sue every one of them. A few floated Priya's name. Nobody, not one person, had even glanced at Ruben. "I've never taken anything in my life," Ruben said. "Not one pen. 14 years. I looked at him for a long moment. I thought about his wife. I thought about 14 years of being the first one in the building and the last one anyone thought about. 1 minute, I stood up and walked to the front of the room, and everything went quiet because I'd talked to more people than anyone. Trent was staring at me like a man watching a jury file back in. Priya was nodding hard, mouthing his name at me. I could feel Ruben's eyes on my back like a hand. "Time," Vaughn said. "Who took the money?" The silence stretched. I shook my head. "I don't know." Other voices came in behind me. "Trent," someone said. "Trent," said another. "Priya," said a third. There was no agreement. Nobody said Ruben. Vaughn let it die down completely. Then he smiled, which was strange, because he hadn't smiled once in 11 days. "Ruben," he said gently, "would you stand up?" Ruben rose slowly, head down, and 19 people turned to stare at a man they'd worked beside for years and never once suspected. "Ruben confessed to exactly one of you this morning," Vaughn said. "He was instructed to. He picked the first person who bothered to ask if he was all right." Nobody breathed. "There is no missing money," Vaughn said. "There is no tracker. Nothing was ever stolen from this company." Somebody swore. Priya sat down hard. "I inherited a department with the worst retention numbers in the region," Vaughn went on, "and I needed to know what you people do when you're afraid, because that's the only honest measurement there is. I gave you a stranger to sacrifice in 10 minutes to do it, and I watched most of this room build a case against a colleague in under 4. He looked at Trent for a beat longer than was comfortable. "You don't get fired for failing a test, but you don't get promoted for it either." I turned around. Ruben was still standing there, wiping his face with the back of his hand, and for the first time in 14 years, every person in that room was actually looking at him. He caught my eye and mouthed 2 words, "Thank you."